Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. This is the ELD Legacy Open. Either the final round of Swiss or the beginning of the top 8. Here from my notes here, but we have a strong opening here from Gemin. Urza's Saga along with Mox Diamond, so he'll be able to make constructs right out of the gate if he decides to go that route. But Life from the Loam sets up a kind of a draw engine as well. Dredging back Life from the Loam, putting cards into the graveyard, hopefully a bunch of lands. Thespian Stage already in hand. That can combo quite nicely with Urza's Saga. Once Thespian Stage becomes a copy of Urza's Saga, start picking up and gaining abilities, and when it's no longer an Urza's Saga, retain those abilities. The land itself actually gains the abilities. Get rid of it before it is sacrificed to its final chapter. You just end up with a Thespian Stage that can just spit out constructs each turn, pay 2, tap it, get a construct. Exponential growth. Even with no other artifacts, 3 of them. A 3/3, 4/4s, 4/4/4s, 5/5/5s. Of course, Mox Diamond Expedition Map also helping with that. Now, interestingly, Rob not tracking his fetch land. I believe that means he's not on any basics, would be my guess, because Pithing Needle could have potentially have been found off of that Urza Saga, and that would be a real setback. Fortunately, for Gemin, it's actually in his hand. Force of Will, this Pithing Needle, keeping the Flooded Strand as an option. Right now, his mana base just slowly building. Rob, no board presence yet, but these fetch lands very helpful in trying to avoid the effect of Wasteland on the other side of the table. And ineffective against fetches, of course. Sacrifice them in response, allowing you to get up to 2 or 3 mana, despite the ability to incur Wastelands. Definitely with Life from the Loam. Watery Grave is found. But Storm. Looks like Rob's going to be ready to commit something to the board. Ready. Tap. Yeah, Gemin not using the Wasteland here. Could have Wastelanded during his own end step, which is what that Brainstorm was. Interesting. Possible that the consideration Expedition Map to go get Dark Depths and wanting to have a Wasteland as backup, in case Rob has a Wasteland of his own. Let's see if it goes that way. No, he's actually going to go with... He's going to go with Maze of Ith. This is game 1. It's a somewhat unknown list. I think playing against a list that doesn't have an answer to Merit Lage, definitely get 2020. But Rob may have access to Brazen Borrower, which has, of course, Petty Theft as its adventure, bouncing a non-land permanent, turning Merit Lage, probably living its best life. Let me know in the comments what your favorite thing to bounce with Petty Theft is. Brazen Borrower is just an incredibly strong magic card. But not super broken. I mean, it just allows you to play games of Magic. Body is great. Little clock. I mean, both sides are overcosted for what they are, but when you staple them together, that's a huge amount of value out of a single piece of cardboard. Bouncing crucial non-land permanent and also for 3 in the air to close out games. Now, Rob does have a Wasteland. I'm going to crop rotate in response. Force of Will hitting this crop rotation. Rob's side of the board, we've got Murktide and Death Shadow. hoping to make a 20-20 there. Crop rotation, one of the more interesting cards as far as back and forth interactions. Of course, if it gets countered, you're down a land. And if it resolves in response to a wasteland, there's essentially no drawback to the card. So there, Rob takes the game, clears the board, wasteland, well timed. We're on to the next one. So Will holding down the fort. Lands has this inevitability to it. Eventually it will get there. You have to actually kill the lands player. Otherwise, they're going to just life from the loam their way out of the situation in time. They can really slow things down with Maze of Ith. Exploration. On that for turn. Otherwise, that's a turn 1 play. Especially against a deck that runs days. Forces it. Pitching Baleful Strix. Card that's not of 0 consequence in the matchup. Baleful Strix can stand in the way of a Merit Lage potentially. Draw a card. But, you know, it's blue and it pitches to Force. Brown, excellent role player in this type of deck. Play a little bit more of a control route. Otherwise, aggro deck. Death Shadow just has so many different options. You discard, board removal, like I suppose creature removal and mana denial together to impact the board. Of course, you can fight on the stack as well. Deck, Will Daze, Stubborn Denial, a counterspell. See play in it. Hard counter when you have a just body, I think it is. 4/4 or better. I think it's Ferocious. Might be wrong. Comments where it is there on Stubborn Denial. Shocklands here. Into Murktide. Opting to make him slightly smaller than he could be. Perhaps signaling that he has access to Mystic Sanctuary. I don't believe he has any Snapcasters. The deck can play some control, but it's not that inclined to create a slog. I mean, you do want to get people out of there with a Murktide or a Death Shadow. The extra 2 damage from Snapcaster, not super impressive. Player with any creatures on board. Pyroblast stopping Murktide. Life from the Loam dredges back. Inevitability kind of begins. Just 1 land. Six Sanctuary. And put Brainstorm on top. Land, take out a land. A little surprised, given the amount of mana on the other side. Gammon could have jammed a crop rotation and Life from the Loam to get back both cards, though that may have left him hellbent. He may want a little bit more mystery. Playing on Rob, of course, when your opponent's playing counter spells, having imperfect information can lead to them making imperfect plays. Holmes, kind of underwhelming so far. Hasn't found a Dark Depths. Landed God and Port come back. Like, Gemmon's considering keeping crop rotation up. feel like you've already committed to the mana denial plan. You might as well be wastelanding, porting during the upkeep. Oh, but no. Oh. It's just keeping the green mana open to respond to the crop rotate. And I suppose with good reason here. Wasteland. Wasteland number 2 could actually keep Gemin away from life from the loam. Oh, no green mana now. All right. Let's see. Card in hand. Very, very good. This is 1 mana or 1 damage Death Shadow. Oh, and he top sticks. Ugh. Dark Depths. Brutal. So no green mana, but he just rips Dark Depths off the top. Wow. What a blowout. So Rob engineered that, managed to shut off the Life from the Loam engine, leaving Gemin with just colorless sources, a Thespian Sage and a couple of Rashad ports, and right off the top, like an absolute savage, draws Dark Depths, makes a 20-20, gets that game back, forcing a game 3. What a spectacular finish to game 2. Bob will have the play, and he's mulling. Players mulling to 6. Rob. See if he's mentally over that incredible top deck. Exploration. This card really does make everything about the deck so much more dangerous. Kerr. Extra lands, so much more relevant when you can play 2 lands a turn. Mana denial becomes so much better. Surgical Extraction shows just a Mazavith and a crop rotation in hand. Life of the Loam is out of there. Wow, that really, I mean, that essentially makes this exploration useless now. Unlikely Gemin will be in a situation where he has 2 extra lands in hand. Be able to play a land a turn for the rest of the game, but wow. Wow, Surgical. Perfect there. The perfect card. I mean, there's a budget consideration for cards like Fairy Macabre, which have their own upsides, but Surgical just actually getting the job done here. Of course, getting rid of a single life from out of the graveyard, not as strong as getting rid of all of them from the library. Your opponent's ability to top deck another life from totally removed. But he does draw Sylvan Library, which, I mean, I got to imagine is one of the best possible cards he could draw there. Potentially representing significant card advantage, trading some extra life for some extra cards, also giving that card selection when combined with shuffling. Sylvan Library is so good when you can shuffle. Of course, if you're just looking at the same cards each turn, not very exciting, but Brazen Borrower actually used early to bounce Mox Diamond. All right, this is a tempo play. Let's see how this works out. Shadow is at its core a tempo deck. Brazen Borrower can show up and start being face. Just going with Murktide. Right? Resting. Boy, I kind of like that Brazen Borrower in hand. It's Hellbent. Guess we'll see how quickly it ends up joining in the fight. If it doesn't end up joining in, I don't know how excited I am. Oh, double crop rotation. A single crop rotation left in hand. Draws Thespian Stage or a Dark Depths. Able to tutor up the rest of the combo. Rob. Considering his options with Wasteland. And actually opts not to. Right now, Maze of Ith. Able to hold off this Murktide. Crop rotate. I think you actually can just crop rotate for Thespian Stage as well. So if Rob uses this Maze of Ith, the Wasteland to take out Maze of Ith, I think we're going to see a crop rotation for a Thespian Stage and go ahead. No. No, never mind. I thought we might see holding on to that Maze of Ith. He's just going to crop rotate for it. And we've got another Wasteland. There we go. That's how you do it. Just have it. Double Wasteland. Shutting it all down. Life from Loam has been exiled from this deciding game. Wastelands falling perfectly into place. No part of the Merit Lage combo on board. Murktide beating down. 2 more turns. Pretty much has to have one of the pieces in hand right now. Now he's limited to just finding some type of answer like Pyroblast. Have his draw step. Is he dead or does he have some interaction? See a crop rotation. So many crop rotations this match. Lord. 2 mystery cards in hand. Rob. Amazing crop rotation. Double days. This is the main phase crop rotation. Gemin paying 2 for a pair of dazes. Taking a look to see if he has anything that'll actually matter here. And it looks like he does not. So even with crop rotation resolving, he is out of interaction with his mana base as Grixis Shadow wins a very well-played match versus Lance.